Think for a moment, what controls your life? Not the events around you, the boss who criticizes, the money you lack, the time that slips away, but something closer, more yours, your mind. The Stoics, men like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, understood this centuries ago. You don't rule the world, but you rule how you see it. What if I told you that changing your attitude, that internal lens, could transform everything you experience? It's not an illusion. It's not a trick. It is a practical truth, tested by time and reason. In this video, we'll explore together how the principles of Stoicism can give you this power, the power to decide what affects you and what you build from it. How many times have you let a bad day define you because you believed there was no choice? How many opportunities did you miss because you thought failure was the end? Science confirms what the Stoics already knew. Our thoughts shape our reality. A Stanford University study showed that positive attitudes activate the prefrontal cortex, the region of the brain that guides decisions and emotions. But the opposite also happens. Letting your mind wander in negativity creates chains that you forge yourself. Stoicism teaches us to break these chains, not with empty promises, but with discipline and clarity. This is not a fairy tale about instant happiness. It's about control, about looking at the chaos and choosing how to respond. Let's dive into the Stoic teachings that guide this channel. Accept what we can't change, focus on what we can, and use reason as our compass. Take an example. In 1920, in England, a man lost everything in the Great Depression. Home, family, future. He could have surrendered. Instead, he adjusted his vision, wrote down his reflections, and his ideas still resonate. Another, in the same crisis, fell into despair and never rose. What separated them? Attitude, the essence of Stoicism. You who are here now have already taken the first step. This channel exists for this. We uncover the Stoic principles that transform lives, and you are part of this search. Over the course of this hour, we'll dissect how attitude shapes your destiny, with real stories, experiments that prove it, and lessons that philosophers have left for us. Why do some prosper while others collapse? It's not luck. It's not a privilege. It's a decision, and Stoicism shows you how to make it. So, feel free. Grab a notebook if you want, or just listen carefully. We're starting an hour-long journey through the fundamentals of Stoicism, applied to something you live every day, your attitude. Here, we don't offer escapism, we offer tools. And if you feel this resonates, know that there is more waiting for you in this space of reflection. Are you ready to look inside and see what really matters? Because changing your attitude, as the Stoics taught, is not just about changing your life, it's changing who you decide to be. Imagine a man named Tomas, a blacksmith in a forgotten village in the interior, where the sun burned the stones and the wind carried promises of better days that crumbled like dust. Tomas was skilled. His calloused hands shaped iron with precision, but life seemed determined to bend him. A cruel winter brought a storm that no one predicted. The forge's roof collapsed with a crash. The tools sank into the cold mud, and the few remaining customers left for larger cities, leaving only the echo of silence. Tomas's savings dwindled like embers in the rain, and the village, once alive with the sound of the hammer, now looked at him with pity. He could have cursed the heavens, drowned in lamentations, or abandoned everything like so many before him. But Tomas had something different, a stubborn spark, a fire that refused to go out. One freezing morning, while sorting through the wreckage, he found an old book, thrown there by a forgotten traveler. It was a torn text from Epictetus, the slave philosopher, with an underlined sentence. It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. Tomas read in a low voice, the wind howling in the background, and stopped, holding the paper as if it were a map. It wasn't new. A village elder, with hollow eyes and a hoarse voice, told stories of Stoics who built fortresses in their minds when the world fell apart. But there, among the rubble, with the cold biting at the bones and the future as dark as a starless night, those words ignited something deep. He reflected, what if, instead of bowing to the chaos, he acted as if the forge still pulsed, as if ruin were just an intermission, a test to be faced? The next day, Tomas got up with the sun pale. It had no roof, but it swept the muddy floor as if a line of customers were on its way. He picked up the broken hammer and with a bent nail repaired it, humming a hoarse melody of prosperous times. Neighbors passed by, shaking their heads. What are you doing, Tomas? Your forge is dead." He looked up calmly. "He only died if I let him." Little by little, the impossible became routine. A curious boy stopped, bringing a bent hook to fix. A farmer appeared with a dented hoe, asking for help in a hesitant voice. Tomas worked with weak fire and tortuous tools, but he struck iron as if he were the greatest blacksmith in the valley, each blow a silent cry of resistance. At night, by the flickering light of a candle, he read Epictetus, the yellowed pages shaking in his hands. "You have power over your will, not over what comes from outside." The words became an anchor. He thought about the long hours, the cold that stiffened his fingers. "The wind took my roof, but not my choice." Weeks later, the village whispered, "Tomas will not surrender." A merchant, impressed by the effort, left a bag of coal as payment for a simple repair. A woman brought old boards saying, "You deserve a roof." It wasn't luck. It was Tomas's attitude reflected in the world. He didn't expect perfect. He acted as if enough was already there. Months later, the forge was reborn, bigger, stronger, and Tomas became the pillar of the village, not by miracle, but by a decision that began on those cold mornings. What does Tomas show us? That life doesn't save you. It responds when you act. He didn't have everything, but he acted like he had the essentials. This is the heart of Stoicism, changing your attitude when the world challenges you. And that's what we're going to unpack now. 10 lessons for you to transform your life with what's within your reach. Because, as Tomas learned, the first step is to decide that the storm does not define you. Lesson 1. Accept what you cannot change. Have you ever felt the weight of fighting something that just won't give? Maybe a traffic delay, a rain that ruins your plans, or a loss that you can't explain. Life throws these stones in your path, and the natural reaction is to resist, curse, complain, try to force the impossible. But what if I told you that this fight is what holds you back? That letting go of the reins of what you don't control could be the first step to transforming your life? The Stoics called this art accepting the inevitable with serenity, not as weakness, but as brute strength of the mind. Seneca, the philosopher who faced exile and betrayal, wrote, "We have no power over destiny, but we have it over ourselves." He knew that the world is a chaotic stage. Storms come, empires fall, people leave. Trying to change what is done is like shouting into the wind. You only lose breath. The Stoic attitude is not passivity, it's focus. Think about it. How many hours have you spent dwelling on what you can't undo? How many times have you let the past or the unpredictable steal your peace? Accepting is not giving up. It is choosing where to put your energy. In practice, it works like this. Imagine you missed out on a promotion at work. The boss chose another one, and that's it, it's done. You can spend days eating away at yourself, wondering what you said wrong, or you can stop and ask, what do I control now? Maybe it's improving your skills, looking for another chance, or even changing direction. In 2019, an engineer named Laura in southern Brazil saw her project rejected after months of work. Instead of sinking, she read Marcus Aurelius, "Take what comes and do what you can." Laura accepted the rejection, calmly adjusted the project, and a year later she won an award for it. What changed? Not the boss, her attitude. Start small. Today, when something slips out of your hands, a delay, a criticism, a failed plan, take a deep breath. Tell yourself, I don't control that. What do I control? Write a line on paper if you need to. What is done and what can I do now? It's a simple but powerful exercise. Over time, you stop bleeding from cuts that won't heal and start building with what you have. This is the basis of Stoicism. Letting go of the unchangeable to master the possible. Your life doesn't change because the world changes. It changes because you decide where to fight. Accepting what you cannot change is not surrender. It is the first strike against chaos. While others drown in losing battles, you move forward with clarity. Start today and see, the storm may roar, but it doesn't drag you away. Lesson 2, focus on what depends on you. What if you stop chasing what you'll never hold? Think about it. How many times have you spent trying to fix someone's mood, predict the future, or erase a mistake that has already happened? Life is a vast field, but the peace you cultivate is small, and that is where your power lies. The Stoics called this the dichotomy of control, separating what depends on you from what doesn't. Changing your attitude starts when you only look at what you can touch, letting the rest take its natural course. Epictetus, who lived in chains before freeing his mind, said, "There is one thing you control, your choices, your thoughts, your actions." He had no physical freedom, but he knew that no one could steal his will. The world out there, what others think, what time brings, is a river that runs wild. You don't rule the current, but you decide how it navigates. How many times have you found yourself stuck, wondering what you could have said in a lost argument, or worried about something that hasn't even arrived yet? This is energy thrown away, like water in a leaky bucket. In practice, it works like this. Let's say you have a presentation tomorrow. You don't control whether the audience will like it, whether the projector will fail, or whether someone will interrupt you. But you control how you prepare, what you say, and how you react if something goes wrong. In 2023, Pedro, a salesperson in Sao Paulo, lost an important client due to a team error. He could have blamed his colleagues, but he remembered Epictetus: focus on what is in your hands. He revised his approach, refined his pitch, and within weeks landed 2 bigger contracts. The mistake remained, but his attitude changed the result. Try it today. Take something that worries you, a tight deadline, a response that didn't come. Divide it into 2 parts: what you control and what you don't control. If it's a deadline, you don't control the time, but you control the effort you put in now. Write this down if it helps. I don't control the boss's tardiness, but I control my preparation. Just focus on your part and act. It seems basic, but it's a silent revolution. You stop exhausting yourself in the wind and start adjusting the sails. Stoicism gives you this clarity. Your strength is not in dominating the world, but in dominating what is yours. Focusing on what depends on you is not limitation, it is freedom. While others get lost trying to grasp the uncontrollable, you plant where the soil is yours. Start now and realize what is in your hands is more than enough to change your life. Lesson 3. See the obstacle as the path. Have you ever stopped when faced with a problem and thought, why did this have to happen to me? A plan that goes wrong, a door that closes, a day that turns upside down. It's easy to see obstacles as enemies, walls that hold you back. But what if they weren't barriers? What if they were the very path to something greater? The Stoics believed that every hardship carries a lesson, a chance to grow. Changing your attitude to see the obstacle as part of the journey can change the game of your life. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who faced wars and plagues, wrote in his Meditations, "The obstacle to acting becomes the acting. What stands in the way is the way." He did not see problems as punishments, but as masters in disguise. A lost battle taught strategy. A betrayal revealed who was loyal. How many times have you let a stumble define you? How many opportunities did you miss because you only saw the blockage, not what it offered you? Stoicism invites you to turn this lens around. What knocks you down can lift you up if you know how to look. In practice, it is an exercise in perspective. Imagine that your car broke down in the middle of a trip. You may curse your luck, get stuck in anger, or ask, what does this teach me? Maybe it's patience, maybe it forces you to ask for help and meet someone new. In 2021, Sophia, a designer from Recife, missed a deadline because of a power outage. Furious, she almost gave up on the project. So, he read Marcus Aurelius and changed his focus. He used the delay to calmly review everything. The client loved the end result, and she won a bigger contract. The obstacle didn't disappear, it became a step. Try this now. Think about a recent problem, a delay, a criticism, a frustrated plan. Instead of fighting it, ask, how does this help me grow? Take a notebook if you want, and write down 3 things it teaches you: patience, creativity, endurance. Then act like it's a chance, not a sentence. It's uncomfortable at first. The mind resists, but with practice you see doors where there were only walls before. Stoicism does not erase obstacles, turns them into tools. Your life changes when you stop running from rocks and start using them to build. Seeing the obstacle as a path is not blind optimism, it is practical wisdom. While others stop at difficulty, you advance through it. Start today and discover what challenges you is what shapes you. Lesson 4. Cultivate calm in chaos. Have you ever found yourself in the middle of a storm, Not the kind with rain, but the kind that life brings. A day when everything goes wrong. The phone rings non-stop, deadlines are pressing, and the world seems to be spinning too fast. At these times, the heart races, the mind becomes confused, and the urge is to scream or run away. But what if you could stand firm, like a rock in the middle of the river? The Stoics knew that calm is not a luxury, it is a weapon. Changing your attitude to find peace in the chaos could be what saves you and takes you beyond. Seneca, who lived under the pressure of Rome and the threat of a tyrant, wrote, "Nothing is more precious than tranquility of mind." He faced conspiracies and exile, but chose to breathe deeply where others were lost in panic. Chaos is inevitable. A boss who demands, news that shakes, a plan that collapses. Have you ever let it swallow you? Have you ever reacted in a hurry and made everything worse? Stoicism teaches you that calm doesn't come from external silence, but from a silence you create within, even when the world screams. In practice, it is a simple but powerful workout. Let's say you're stuck in a traffic jam, late for something important. The impulse is to honk, curse, wallow in tension. Instead, stop. Close your eyes for a second. Breathe slowly. Inhale for 4, exhale for 6. Ask, what do I gain from drowning in this? In 2022, Daniel, a teacher in Curitiba, faced a room full of agitated students and a broken projector. It could have exploded, but it reminded me of Seneca. He took a breath, improvised the class calmly, and the students ended up praising his patience. The chaos hasn't changed. His attitude has. Do it today. When the next whirlwind arrives, an argument, pressure at work, pause for 10 seconds. Feel the air coming in and out. Let your shoulders relax. Decide, I will not sink. If you can, go outside for a moment, look at the sky, or just close your eyes and repeat, this will pass. It's not magic, it's discipline. Over time, you notice calm gives you clarity to act, not just react. Stoicism doesn't eliminate chaos. It teaches you to cross it as if it were a river, not a flood. Your life changes when you stop being a slave to the noise. Cultivating calm in chaos is not weakness. It is the power of those who master themselves. While others drown in the storm, you sail steadily. Start now and see. The world can scream, but you don't need to scream back. Lesson 5. Master the present instant. What are you doing now, besides listening to me? Is your mind here? Or has it already fled to yesterday's mistake or tomorrow's fear? We live like tightrope walkers, balancing between what was and what could be, while the solid ground of now slips through our fingers. The Stoics saw this as a death trap. To lose the gift is to lose your life. Changing your attitude to grab the moment you have in your hands could be the key that unlocks everything you seek. Marcus Aurelius, sitting in his military camp surrounded by war and uncertainty, noted, "You have now, don't ask for more than that." He knew that the past is a shadow that cannot change, and the future is a fog that cannot be touched. How many times have you let a regret pull you back? How many nights have you spent dreaming about a what-if that never comes? Stoicism calls you to a challenge. Live where you are, because it is the only place where you can act, feel, change. In practice, it's like sharpening a blade. Imagine you are washing the dishes. Simple, routine. Your head wanders. What you said in the meeting, what you are going to do tomorrow. Stop. Feel the warm water on your hands, the weight of the plate, the sound of rubbing. Just focus on that for a minute. In 2020, Anna, a nurse in Porto Alegre, faced exhausting shifts during the pandemic. Anxiety devoured her until she read Marcus Aurelius. She began to ground herself in the present. Each dressing, each patient's breath. The stress didn't go away, but she gained the strength to get through it. The moment became his refuge. Test this today. Choose a mundane moment. Drinking coffee, walking to the door. Erase yesterday and tomorrow from your mind. Ask, what do I see, feel, do now? If it helps, close your eyes for 5 seconds and listen to the sound around you. A distant car, the wind, your own breathing. It's a short workout, but it transforms. You stop being a hostage to time and start ruling it. Stoicism doesn't give you more hours. It gives you the now, whole. Your life changes when you stop running from the present and start inhabiting it. Mastering the present moment is not poetry. It is raw power. While others get lost in what they don't control, you build on what you have. Grab the now and see. This is where life happens. Lesson 6. Choose the virtue, not the victim. Imagine a stage. On one side, the world attacks you with injustices, failures, low blows. On the other, you decide who takes the stage, the victim who cries or the hero who acts. We all face days when life seems like a cruel script written to bring us down. But the Stoics had a secret. You are not what happens to you. It is what you do with it. Changing your attitude to choose virtue over victimhood is what puts you in charge of your story. Epictetus, who carried chains as a slave before freeing his soul, said, "No one can harm you without your consent." He didn't deny the pain. He felt the whip in his flesh, but he refused to give it power. The boss who ignores you, the friend who betrays you, the plan that falls apart. How many times have you let this turn you into a martyr? How many hours did you spend telling how unfair life was? Stoicism offers you a way out. Stop handing the script over to others and write yours with courage, patience, justice, with virtue. In practice, it is an exchange of roles. Let's say someone criticizes you harshly at work for no reason. The instinct is to defend yourself, to wallow in "it's not fair." Instead, choose virtue. Breathe, listen, respond calmly, or don't respond at all. In 2024, Mariana, a cook in Salvador, was humiliated by an arrogant customer. He could have fought back or hid in tears, but he remembered Epictetus. She smiled, finished the dish with care, and left the customer speechless. Virtue won, not his poison, but hers. The day has not changed. She changed. Do it now. Think about a situation in which you felt like a victim, an argument, a failure. Ask, how can I act virtuously here? Maybe it's swallowing your pride, offering help where you've received scorn, or just moving forward with dignity. Write a sentence if you like. I will not be a victim, I will be virtuous. It's a small but powerful act. You stop giving stage to suffering and start directing it. Stoicism doesn't erase the blows, it teaches you to dance with them. Your life changes when you exchange regret for greatness. Choosing virtue is not easy, it is heroic. While others sink into the role of victim, you take the stage as the protagonist. Start today and see. Life can knock, but it doesn't write you. Lesson 7. Disarm fear with preparation. Think of a monster that grows in the dark of your mind. Fear. It whispers before a big decision, roars when the future seems uncertain, and paralyzes you with, "What if I fail?" We've all felt its claws, the butterflies in our stomach, the racing heart. But the Stoics had a trick to tame this beast. Prepare for the worst, not to run away, but to face it head on. Changing your attitude to view fear as training can transform what haunts you into something that strengthens you. Seneca, who lived with death as a shadow, wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." He practiced the premeditation of evil. Imagine evils before they come, not to sink, but to arm yourself. How many times have you let fear paint a black picture that never happened? How many nights did you waste fearing something that, in the end, wasn't so bad? Stoicism teaches you to take the power out of fear. If you've already faced the worst in your mind, the real thing doesn't catch you off guard. In practice, it's like forging armor. Imagine you have a job interview tomorrow. Fear says, "What if I get stuck? What if they reject me?" Sit for 5 minutes and visualize. You stutter. The interviewer frowns. The job slips away. Now plan. If this happens, breathe. Speak slowly. Show calm. In 2023, João, a student in Belo Horizonte, was afraid of failing a decisive test. Inspired by Seneca, he imagined failure, but also the aftermath. Studying more, trying again. When he narrowly missed it, fear no longer had any strength. He prepared himself and won. Try this today. Choose a fear, a difficult conversation, a risk you want to take. Close your eyes and see the worst-case scenario. Feel the knot in your stomach, the awkward silence. Then decide, if this comes, what do I do? Write a simple plan if you want. If I fail, I get up and follow. It's uncomfortable but freeing. You stop running from the monster and start staring at it. knowing that it is smaller than it looks. Stoicism doesn't kill fear. It gives you the spear to face it. Your life changes when what scares you becomes just another workout. Disarming fear with preparation is not an illusion. It is pure strategy. While others tremble in the dark, you turn on the light. Start now and realize what threatens you no longer controls you. Lesson 8. Cut the excess. Gain clarity. Picture a cluttered desk, stacked papers, cold coffee leftovers, things you don't even remember why you kept. Now imagine your mind like this, full of noises, desires, tasks that pull you in 1,000 directions. We live in excess. More tasks, more things, more distractions. The Stoics cut this off like pruning a dry branch, knowing that less can be more. Changing your attitude to eliminate the superfluous gives you back the focus and the life that really matters. Marcus Aurelius, ruling an empire in flames, wrote, "If it is not necessary, discard it." He dealt with armies and advisors, but kept a clear mind, rejecting what did not serve his purpose. How many times have you lost yourself chasing something that, deep down, you didn't need? How many minutes did you waste scrolling through your phone or saying yes to things you should have refused? Stoicism calls you to do some mental cleaning. Remove the weight of what doesn't carry value and see what's left to shine. In practice, it's like cleaning out a closet. Let's say your day is packed. Meetings, messages, a never-ending list. Stop for 10 minutes. Take a pen and cross out what is not essential, that connection you can hope for, the favor that would drain your energy. In 2022, Clara, an entrepreneur in Florianopolis, was bogged down in projects. Inspired by Marcus Aurelius, she cut out half of the ideas that looked good and focused on just one. The business took off within months. The excess fell. Clarity won. Do it today. Look at your routine or your desk, literal or mental. Ask, does this get me what I want, or does it just take up space? Be cruel. Eliminate a task, an object, a commitment that doesn't add up. If you can, take a box and throw away something physical. Old paper, junk. Feel the relief. It's not about having less for the sake of having less. It's about making space for what counts. Stoicism doesn't empty you. It refines you. Your life changes when you stop carrying the unnecessary and start living the essential. Cutting excess is not a loss. It is a gain in the form of lucidity. While others drown in the much, you breathe in the little that matters. Start now and feel. Lightness is true power. Lesson 9. Turn the ordinary into extraordinary. Look around you now. An ordinary chair, the sound of traffic outside, the smell of stale coffee. Life seems like a sequence of banal scenes, doesn't it? We spend our days waiting for something great, an event, a victory, while the ordinary slips away like sand. The Stoics, however, saw gold in the trivial. Every moment, however simple, was a chance to shine. Changing your attitude to elevate the ordinary can make your life pulse where before there was only routine. Epictetus, who swept floors as a slave before teaching kings, said, "Do not seek for things to happen as you will, but want them as they happen." He transformed mundane tasks into acts of greatness. To sweep carefully was to master oneself. How many times have you ignored the now, thinking it was too small? How many moments have you wasted dreaming about the big day that never comes? Stoicism provokes you. What if the extraordinary is not out there, but in the way you live what you already have? In practice, it's like polishing a rough stone. Imagine you are waiting for the bus. Late, of course. Instead of scrolling your phone or snorting, notice the wind on your face, the pace of people, the weight of your feet on the ground. Make this an exercise in presence. In 2021, Lucas, a driver in Manaus, hated daily traffic. He read Epictetus and decided to treat each trip as a test of patience and attentiveness. What was boredom turned into class. He even started to enjoy the chaotic streets. The ordinary has not changed, his look does. Test this today. Take something routine. Brush your teeth, make lunch. Treat it as if it were unique. Feel the brush, the flavor of the paste, the heat of the pan. Ask, how do I do this with greatness? If you want, Set aside a minute and immerse yourself in it with your entire body. It sounds silly, but it's powerful. You stop waiting for life to begin and start living it in every detail. Stoicism doesn't invent miracles. It reveals the ones that are already there. Your life changes when the ordinary becomes the stage for your strength. Transforming the ordinary into extraordinary is not fantasy. It is alchemy of the mind. While others chase what is rare, you find treasures in what is already yours. Start now and see. The small is where the big is born. Lesson 10. Live as if today were the end. Close your eyes for a second and imagine this is your last day. There is no tomorrow, only now. The sound of your voice, the heat of your skin, the weight of this moment. Scary, perhaps, but the Stoics used this idea as a fire to burn laziness and fear. They knew that death is not just the end, it is a reminder to truly live. Changing your attitude to approach each day as your last can ignite an urgency that transforms everything you touch. Marcus Aurelius, surrounded by battles and betrayals, wrote, "Live as if you were going to die now, and do it well." He woke up knowing that the day could be stolen by an arrow or a fever, so he gave everything. He thought clearly, acted firmly, loved without half measures. How many times have you put off a dream until tomorrow? How many "I'll do it later" have you piled up, thinking time is infinite? Stoicism shakes you. He is not. If today were the end, what would you change about your attitude right now? In practice, it is a shock that turns into fuel. Imagine you have a pending conversation, something you avoid, perhaps asking for forgiveness or saying, "I love you." Think, if I died today, would this be left unsaid? So go and speak. In 2023, Raphael, an accountant in Guyana, read Marcus Aurelius and found himself postponing his resignation out of fear. He imagined his last day stuck in a job he hated. He quit everything the following week and opened his own business. The imaginary deadline pushed him. He flew. Try this today. Choose one thing that matters. A hug, a project, a decision. Ask, if today were the end, would I let this go? Don't wait for the answer. Act as if the clock is resetting. If you can, look in the mirror and say, "This is the day." It's intense, even uncomfortable, but it cuts through the hassle like a blade. You stop treating life as a draft and start writing it in permanent ink. Stoicism doesn't give you more time. It makes you use what you have as if it were everything. Living as if today were the end is not morbidity, it is life on fire. While others sleep in tomorrow, you wake up in the now. Do this and feel. Each day can be your legacy. We have reached the end of this journey, or was it the beginning? During this time, we uncover 10 Stoic keys to changing your attitude and, with it, your life. Let's recap, because what you take away from here isn't just theory, it's a map. First, we accept what we cannot change, releasing the weight of the uncontrollable. Then, we focus on what depends on us, planting where the soil is ours. We saw the obstacle as a path, transforming stones into steps. We cultivate calm in chaos, navigating storms with firmness. We dominate the present moment, living the now as if it were everything. We choose virtue, not the victim, taking the stage as protagonists. We disarm fear with preparation, facing the worst to overcome the real. We cut out the excess, gaining clarity on the essentials. We transform the ordinary into extraordinary, giving shine to the trivial. And finally, we live as if today were the end, burning laziness with urgency. Each lesson is a tool, but it only works if you pick it up. Before I close, listen to this story. It ties together everything we've seen. In a small mountain town, where the fog embraced the houses like a cloak, lived Helena, a middle-aged weaver. She spent her days at the loom, sewing simple patterns to sell at the fair, but she dreamed of something bigger, creating tapestries that told stories, pieces that would last for generations. Life, however, didn't help. Her husband had fallen ill years before, leaving her with debt and 2 young children. The loom creaked, old, and the cheap threads I could buy easily fell apart. Friends said, "Accept it, Helena. This is what you have." She could have bowed, become a victim of fate, but something in her resisted. A spark that Stoicism ignited. One cold night, Helena found a forgotten notebook in her mother's house, with Seneca's notes, "You don't control what comes, but how you respond." It hit her like lightning. What if she changed her attitude? The next day she stopped lamenting the broken loom and accepted what didn't change, Her husband was gone, resources were few. She focused on what depended on her, every thread, every hour at the loom. An obstacle arose. The supplier raised the price of the yarn. Instead of giving up, she saw the way. She started dyeing scraps with mountain herbs, creating unique colors. Chaos was knocking on the door. Her children were fighting. The cold was coming in through the cracks. But she was breathing deeply, cultivating calm, weaving as if the world was waiting in silence. Helena dominated the present. Each stitch on the loom was a whole act, not a means to something more. When the fear of failure came, what if no one buys? She imagined the worst, planned the next step, and followed. He cut out the excess. He stopped accepting small orders that took up time and focused on large tapestries. The ordinary became extraordinary. A crooked thread came to life in his hands as if carrying a soul, and above all, she lived each day as her last, weaving with an urgency that she couldn't explain. If today is the end, he thought, let it be with something of mine. Little by little, the village noticed. Helena's tapestries began to appear at fairs, then in neighboring cities. An art dealer passed by, saw a piece hanging in the window, a pattern of mountains in shades of moss and earth, and asked, "Who made this?" Helena calmly replied, "Me." He bought everything she had and asked for more. Within 2 years, her tapestries were in distant galleries, and she paid her debts, repaired her loom, gave her children a future. What changed? Not the world, her attitude. Helena didn't wait for permission. He acted as if the dream was already his, and the world responded. What Helena teaches us is what these 10 lessons scream. Your life doesn't change by magic, but by choice. Stoicism is not a fairy tale. It is a hammer and chisel, ready for you to sculpt who you want to be. So what are you going to do with it? Take those keys and leave them in the drawer, or use them to open doors you didn't even know existed. The answer is yours, and yours alone. If this video touched you, leave a comment, even if it's just gratitude. I want to know that you made it this far. If you're not already signed up, join us. Stoicism has more to offer, and I'll be here to guide you. Watch these 2 videos below, full of practical wisdom for your everyday life. Until next time, and remember, the power is in you now.